Welcome to the WangHiro podcast, where we answer Malaysians' burning questions about personal finance with fact-based answers. If you can get a loan, why pay for anything in cash, especially a new car, which will easily set you back 5 figures at least? Is there any benefit at all in buying a car in cash? Welcome back to WangHiro with me, Louis, and my co-host, John. On today's podcast, we ask, is it smart to buy a car in cash? So, John, have you ever bought a new car in cash before?
Never.
So, what's the experience that you've had? Always loans, and how much?
Always loans, always 90%, and always aim for what I call the lowest effective rate. Like most people, they look at the simple rate, but the rate of how the loan calculation is very different from that of a house and of a car. So we explain as this episode progresses, because for the benefit of most people who don't know how to calculate it, we'll go through an example how to calculate it.
Correct.
Yeah. So I've always wanted, I always believe that you shouldn't lock up your cash. That's my, when I first started my career working, investing and in general, I realized that whenever, even if you can afford it, I think that's the best time to take a loan, because you know that you have the discipline to come out with that sum of money. But then why do you lock up your capital and lock up your opportunities for things that may come along? You know, you never know, right? Business opportunities, investment opportunities. People will argue, hey, but then you've got a loan to pay. So we'll explore the merits for both of these. So what about you, Louis? Have you bought a car in cash before?
No, but I have the opposite problem. I actually just, when I bought a car, like when I was a student.
Oh.
So obviously the reason why I used a loan was because I couldn't afford it. That was my main reason. It's not like some complicated thing like you say, oh, you can afford it, but you don't want to do it. I simply couldn't afford it. And at that time, actually, I felt like it was not the right thing to do. At that
But why
time,
do you buy a car? Was it because it's easy for you to commute to uni, right?
Yeah, correct. Like in Sarawak, because we don't have public transport, right? And I had no drivers. So no choice. So I have to buy the car and then like swallow it lah. My mom paid for me for the first year, and then it was just for the final year, and then after that I paid for it myself lah. But it was a loan lah, because I couldn't afford. But at that time, I don't know why, but I had this idea that it was not a good idea to have any kinds of loans. I wish that I had the money to buy in cash, because some of my friends actually did that.
Wow.
Some of my uni friends, they had all this money from working part-time or somewhere, and they bought their cars all in cash. Most of my friends did that. They're like, oh, you still pay loan, but you see though the interest rate whatsoever. So like you mentioned, there are a lot of people who, unlike me, they can't afford the car. So maybe they have like some like 500k, like my friends they have like, most of them come from quite wealthy families. So whatever.
Different ma. That one cannot use as a benchmark. Not the common man on the street.
True lah. I think because I went to the private uni, right? So a lot of my friends actually come from money. So if you open their wallet, right, it's full of cash, like 50 notes, like 18-year-old, 19-year-old having that kind of money. So clearly, like people like my uni friends and some people out there, they will have some money locked up, right? Like maybe they work for some years, they have some cash, like maybe, let's give an example, 500,000 in cash, and they just want to buy a Myvi, 50-something thousand lah, and it's about 10% of their total cash. Okay, so they'll have like more than 400,000 left. So in this case, right, they actually have this option of buying with cash. And sometimes they want to do that, like me, right? Back then, I just feel like, wow, when I look big, because like when you buy a car, they will give you the whole like table, right?
Yeah, the payment schedule.
The payment schedule. Then I calculate my interest rate, like more than 10,000, over like 9 years. I'm like, so not worth it. I wish I could have bought this in cash to save on this interest rate. That's one of the biggest reasons that people want to pay in cash. Second reason, they hate paying monthly payments to the bank, right? Yep. This is very annoying. If I pay one time, that's it, the car's mine, right? But at the same time, right, the reason why we are talking about this is because even when these reasons are very clear, you still have that nagging feeling. Maybe you shouldn't, because you hear from a lot of people, like maybe your friends telling you or your parents telling you, actually it's not a good idea. So you're still on the fence about this. So to someone in this position, John, what would you say are the things they should consider? Should they buy in cash, or no, what are the key things to ask themselves?
I think let's come up with the pros and cons first. Then I want to go through, spend a quick 5 minutes to explain how the different loans are calculated. Okay. So first, I think pro you've mentioned already. Some people just don't like to have, like my sister, she doesn't like to have an emotional burden of paying a loan every month. So it's like burdensome. So it's very hard to put a price or sticker to that relief or feeling of not having to pay an installment whatsoever. Because most business owners, they will tell you, you have to get comfortable with loans. You have to get comfortable with paying some kind of either a liability or a credit note or whatever, right? But some people, if you want to have that peace of mind, and that actually is a very heavy priority, then by all means, if you have the cash, just go for it, right? That's the pro. Cons is this. I mentioned earlier, I never like capital to be locked up. Why? Because liquidity, sometimes it's just, if you ask a lot of business owners or investors that are already investing their own money, they take a lot of responsibility to invest their own money. They will tell you that the opportunity is not when you least expect it. You can't prepare for it, or you can't say, oh yeah, I know exactly this day or this month is going to come, whatever. No, sometimes it's just like chance of luck. You meet someone, you like the business proposal, and pop, that's it. You need the money, right? And you do not want to like have to scramble for cash at that moment of time. And having a loan, and when you know that this business opportunity can actually make more money than the interest that you make on the save on the loan, that's where I like to take loans, for me lah, right? But again, go back to look at yourself. Which one are you? Are you more of the fear? Most people will fall into this, more of the fear of like not having to pay a debt, not having to be liable and all that kind of thing. Whereas if you are like more you feel that you are more business savvy, you're more willing to take understand risk better, then this is the side where you don't like to have capital locked up. Because if you think about it, what are the interests? And this is where I'm going to segue into calculating. So a car loan, how do you calculate? Is very simple. You take the amount that you're going to borrow, let's say 100,000, okay, and if you're going to borrow it for 7 years and the interest rate, let's just for ease of math, is 3%. So 100,000 multiplied by 3% multiplied by 7 years. Very simple. Okay, so the principal amount multiplied by the interest rate, effective interest rate, multiplied by the period of the loan, right? Then simple interest rate multiplied by principal multiplied by the tenure of the loan, then you get the total amount you need to pay. You divide it over the tenure, which is like 7 years. Okay. Now, what people mistaken is this: when they see the interest rate, it says 3%, but that's actually not the annualized effective rate.
Oh, okay.
So you know why? It's very simple. The difference is you are paying a fixed interest rate every year on your principal, even though your principal has reduced. I repeat again. You took a loan of 100,000, okay, you're paying an interest rate of 3% over 7 years. But over that 7 years, your principal has reduced, ma?
That's true.
Whereas in a housing loan, okay, you have a fixed interest rate, let's say BLR, base lending rate of 4%, and then it's either minus, usually it's, let's say BLR is 5 or 6, and then you minus 1%, let's say 4. Your principal is reduced, so interest rate is fixed, but your principal is reduced, and it multiplied by a reduced principal. Because every year you pay, your principal is being reduced. Whereas a car loan is fixed. So the interest rate that you're looking at, all right, is actually a simple interest rate where in effect you should be looking at the effective interest rate. Now, don't need to do it on an Excel spreadsheet, don't need to split hairs. Don't need to split hairs.
Okay.
Just type in effective. Okay, just go to the internet, type in effective interest rate calculator. Okay, so I like this one from Loan Street. So if you look at it, total loan is 100,000. Okay, let's say you borrow 7 years. Okay, and then your interest rate, let's say, is 3%. Okay, you see that the effective interest rate per annum is actually 5.57%.
Oh.
So you on face value is 3 because you take 100 multiplied by 7 years, multiply by 3%, and then you divide with the tenure of 7%. 7 years, sorry. But in actual fact, because your principal is reducing, you're still paying fixed, 1,440 ringgit. So you're actually paying fixed interest on a reducing principal.
Why is that legal? Why can
It's legal because that's how car loans are, hire purchase are structured.
okay.
And remember, it's on a depreciating asset. Whereas for a housing loan, is on a most likely an appreciating asset. Okay. And then reduce principal every year. So that's why when it comes to a housing loan, got nuance again, Louis. Some banks will give you on a monthly rest, some will give you on a daily rest. That means if you pay on the first of the month, versus you pay on the 30th of the month, it makes a difference again, Louis, for your housing loan.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, but topic for another day, lah.
Let's save that for another day. We'll see.
So in this case, remember, don't just look at the simple interest rate per annum. You have to look at the ineffective interest rate because the way you calculate is different already. Okay. So a lot of people say, oh, I put money in fixed D 4%. Oh, my interest rate only 3%. No. You got the concept totally wrong already.
Let's say you were mentioning all these opportunity costs in business, and there's also the investment opportunity cost, right?
That's right.
Then the figure we should be comparing would be the
effective.
Oh, I see.
Compare with effective. So if your business opportunities or investments exceed the effective interest rate, okay, then only take the loan. If you have the cash,
like 3% seems reasonable actually.
Correct.
Like a fixed D will return you about the same. So you think, oh, actually it's same, right? But now you look at like the 5.57, that makes a huge difference.
Yes, huge difference. Okay. Yeah. I think more important questions now that you know the math is actually to figure out what are the questions before you decide to pull the trigger. So like for me, I think it's your own discipline. This one you and I also, we cannot answer for the audience. It's like, do you have the discipline to control your spending? So if you can't control, best buy in cash. Why? The moment you buy in cash, right? And then you don't need to pay a monthly installment. You don't come out short, You don't like, oh no, I spent all my money and then I don't have money left over for an installment. And then you got to like take out another personal, you're digging a hole or you're taking out something else, right? Then I think best buy in cash. Don't need to worry about the commitment. You set and forget. Okay. Now, the second big reason, and I think most people miss this, is that if you're buying a new car and you just have exactly enough, most people will not be like your friend Louis, have 500,000, buy 50,000 cash to buy it. Most people they probably have just enough to buy the car in cash and they don't have money for anything else. Usually, right?
Really?
Usually, yeah. Here comes my question. Your new car, no problem. But if you buy a sub-sale car, a recon car, a used car, what happens? There's bound to be repair costs, hidden costs. So if you're putting up all your money to buy the car in cash, where's your buffer? There's no buffer for repair costs already. Okay.
So how much buffer should we be looking at?
Usually I would say 10% of the car value for a year to be safe. So if you buy a 50,000 car, I think 5,000 would be quite safe. Then if you don't have, then you roll over for next year. I mean, you think about it, if you buy any Japanese car, a heavy repair will easily cost you about 1,000 ringgit. Service will already cost you 400 ringgit. Don't say even Japanese car, even a Myvi. Service is already 400 ringgit. Okay, and that's just changing black oil. You just imagine if you have to repair aircon, few thousand already. You want to repair radiator, another few thousand. But obviously, new car you can still claim warranty but used car you can't You see.
I think Honda actually is like 700-800, for the basic maintenance.
Service, correct.
It's much more expensive than Toyota's.
Correct. Your lubricant already, how much already? Yeah. I think the third question would be whether you have a stable income, because you may have the cash and to buy it straight up, but if you choose to take a loan, do you have a stable income coming in or not? Okay. And the last is the effective interest rate calculation, which I already showed you. So, I think maybe for you, did I miss any other key questions looking at your friends, looking at yourself today, Louis? Did I miss out any other questions that you think other people should consider?
I feel like whenever loans are concerned, the thing I think about is like, how do we make that decision, comparing it to the investment, like not like a business investment, but like let's say an investment in ETFs, for example. Is it just like straightforward like that? We just take the whatever returns, then we think, okay, if I take a loan, then I'm not missing out on investments.
Oh, actually, that's even more important, Louis, because you see, in investments, what is your best friend in investments?
What is my best friend? Kega.
Kega. Okay. What is the it's warm. It's very warm. What is part of Kega? What's the most important component of Kega?
Time.
Time. Now you think, huh? So you think about it. If you had taken a 7-year loan, okay, and you put up the cash up front, okay, that means you are losing 7 years of Kega compounding that capital. If it's 100K, okay, and you are given 7 extra years to Kega, and you are Kegaring a difference of, let's say effective rate is 5.5 lah, like what we calculated, and you can get an ETF at 3%. Sorry, ETF at 10%. So you're talking about 4 to 5% difference over 7 years, So you see when I'm calculating. So that means the capital that you've taken, yes, you have to pay a loan, you have to pay interest rates of 5 to 6%, but you are compounding an extra 3%, the difference in between the effective rate of your loan versus that of your investments return. You see? And you're compounding 7 years, not 1 year, not 2 years, not 3 years, you're compounding 7 years of a difference of 5 to 6%. You just imagine.
Wow. Okay. I think I need to take a put it in the spreadsheet to really find out.
Yes, you really go and see the difference.
What's the difference? I think it will be quite significant, right?
Yes,
so
if you stretch it longer, the amount of bigger, I tell you.
5. Okay, 5.
You cannot do it in your head, man. You have to do it in a spreadsheet.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
The other question that I have to ask is regarding the tax. I mean the LHDN coming for you. I think that's so my mom always told me, right, as a kid, like, never buy things in cash, because if you do that, they'll trigger the tax people to come after you,
Yes and no. Yes and no. Very simple. What the tax people are interested in, and this one I am speaking from personal experience, not hearsay or whatever, okay? Is always your source of income. They don't care whether you buy in cash or in loan, whatever. Why they care is there's a discrepancy in between your source of income and the output of your money. For example, if you run a business, you're making millions every year. You pay your taxes, and you pay your taxes declaring that kind of income, but they don't see you spend. They see you like putting into fixed. They don't know whether you're putting into fixed. They don't care actually. As long as you have declared your source of income. Then all of a sudden, pop, you splurge cash. But for the past 10 years, they know you'll be making millions, and they know you're not spending. Even if they audit, the audit trail is very clear. Why people mistaken all this is because the source of income and the tax they pay on that source of income is a mismatch against the cash they pay to buy this thing. That's where LHDN is gone. LHDN don't care how you spend your money, whether cash or low, whatever. They just want to know, most importantly, are you declaring all your sources of income, and are you paying taxes on all the sources of income? That's all. That is the principal premise of LHDN. That's it.
Okay, so technically, if we can show them like how we make our money, and we're declaring our income every year, paying the right amount of tax, we don't have to be worried lah.
Precisely. And this one comes from personal experience. I cannot review too much more, but this one is first-hand experience I've seen. Car bought in cash.
Okay.
And LHDN actually sent a letter with the car plate straight away. So they know.
So it does trigger.
It does. It will definitely trigger. But as long as you declare back your source of income, why the letter was triggered, why that person was triggered was because there was a mismatch. There was a mismatch of his normal income versus that, and once he declared his sources of income, clear.
So he declared, then did he have to also pay the taxes for that?
No, because it was a loan.
Oh,
It was a loan from someone.
Oh,
So it just yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So was it like an official loan?
I can't divulge more details on that.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, I can't
okay, that's very interesting because it always plays in my mind, which, like my mom always told me that, no matter what, even if you have all the
your
money,
source of income, they don't care about what's whatever else that you spend, whatever. As long as all your sources of income are declared and is taxable, and you've declared it the right way, they have no qualms. What they want, you think about it, is income tax, ma. They just want to tax you. Are you not declaring all your income? That's all.
Okay. So finally we have that clear. Although in my heart I just feel like maybe I'm just too conditioned not to do it.
No, I mean, what's wrong? If you earn the cash legally, you earn all this money legally, and you're not spending, you buy in cash. But I would think it's not prudent. Most business people will never buy things in cash.
Yeah, that's true.
Seriously, most people will not buy in cash. The even richer, they will take even more loans actually. They start
OPM,
business
right?
also. Yeah, OPM. People start business, they always use OPM one. They never use their own money. Their own money, they put seed money only. Only amateur businessmen, they put a lot. I've learned my fair share. When I started amateur businessman, you put it all your heart, soul, and face, and your own money.
True.
Literally, I tell you, smart businessmen, they will never
leverage, right?
Yes.
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 Okay. So yeah, I think that's all the questions that I have. So hopefully our audience members out there have gotten some answers to if you are thinking about buying a car, whether you should buy it in cash or get a loan. Hopefully these questions that John has presented will guide you towards the answer. All right, so that wraps up today's episode of WangHiro. To you out there, have you ever bought a car in cash? What made you do it? Would you do it again? Leave your answers in the comment sections below. Thanks for tuning in today's episode. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notifications button to get updates from WangHiro. We'll see you again in our next episode. Bye-bye.